Hi guys! Today I'm making this Easter chick headband for my 16-month-old. It could fit probably between 1 and 2 years, but if you want to make sure, you can always just make the band either wider or narrower. So I hope you enjoyed the video and yeah, let's get going. So I've got 3 different colors of felt because I want my chick to have different color beak and the legs. I have my yarn that is for the band, and this is bamboo yarn. It's really quite nice and soft, but it feels quite silky actually. Although it does say on the order, it says it's DK. Now it's much thinner than any other DK I've ever worked with. So be aware that this is deliberately why I'm using a thinner one, because I'm making this particular band for springtime. Now I also need a crochet hook, and for this one I think 2.5mm is great. And apart from that, then a little bit of tiny bit of stuffing for my chick, and then obviously something to cut. To start with, I'm going to do a slip knot and chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. And I'm going to work with triple crochets here, which is a British term, and in American English this would be double crochets. So I'm going to skip 2. I'm not going to put anything in here or in this stitch either. I'm going to yarn over and go into the 3rd stitch from the hook. 3rd stitch from the hook. And then put the hook in, yarn over, pull through. I have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's my first triple crochet. Again, yarn over, put the hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and again in the next stitch, yarn over, put the hook through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that's what I'm going to do until the end of this row. And I should end up with 8 stitches because I had 10 to start with. I had 10 chains and I skipped 2. So we're almost there. There we go, and now I'm just going to count my stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. So I have 8 stitches, as many as I wanted to. So now I'm going to turn my work around and chain 2, just so that I give my edge height that it needs with triple crochets. And then yarn over and put the hook in the very first stitch. Very first stitch. So if you have a look, we don't skip this one, we actually go into the very first stitch. And then yarn over, pull through as usual, and with 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. And again, put the hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and again the same way until the end of the row. So I'm going to get to the end of this row, turn my work around again, and show you this one more time. and one last stitch, and then I need to go into the entire stitch. There we go. I finished my row. I'm going to turn my work around, chain 2, yarn over, and put the hook in the very first stitch, just there, and then again yarn over and do another triple crochet in the next stitch, and then yarn over and put another triple crochet in the next stitch. And basically this is what I'm going to do until my band is about 15.5 inches long. So I'm going to leave you here. You can pause the video now, and I'll see you here in a second once I've finished. My band is now 15.5 inches long, and I'm just going to connect the sides now. So I'm going to put them against each other, making sure that I know where my yarn is, and I'm going to slip stitch into both sides. So starting in the first stitch on the front, in the front here, and the first stitch in the back. Pull through both and then slip stitch. That didn't work. Let's try again. First, second, pull through both and slip stitch. There we go. Again, put in the front one, put the hook into the back one, pull through both and slip stitch. And again, put in the front, put in the back, pull through and slip stitch. And that's what we're doing in the entire row. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to slip stitch into one of the side stitches as well, so that it looks a bit neater. So the turning stitch there. And if you look at the back, there we go. That's our band connected, and I'm just going to fasten off. And this is our band. Now, this is the kind of band I'm going to use for all my summery projects, all my spring projects, because I think you don't want anything too warm, and I think this material is perfect. So obviously now I'm going to sort out my ends, and I'm going to do it as you normally do it, so pull it through a few stitches and then cut the rest off. And I'll see you here in a minute to start on my chick. Okay, so I'm going to do my chick now, and I'm going to start with shaping. So for that, I'm just going to use a normal small glass and a crafts pen and just do an outline on my felt, more or less, and then another one. Another one has to be quite far so that I can have the wings as well. So I'm actually going to do it about here. Okay, so that's that. And before I cut, I want to draw the wings here. So I'm just going to do 3. 1, 2, 3 little ones. And then on the other side, the same or similar looking thing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so obviously it's not the same. If you're not happy, you can always cut it out differently, or you can redo it. I think that's pretty much right. Okay, so before I carry on to do anything else, I'm going to cut out the two shapes first. And for that I'm going to use smaller scissors because I've just realized that the big sewing scissors shears are just really quite difficult to maneuver on felt. So I'm going to do this and see you here in just 1 second. So these are ready. I'm going to just turn them around so that when I sew them onto each other, it's not going to be, the lines are not going to be showing. Now, I'm looking at it and I think perhaps the wings are slightly too long. So I might just trim them a little bit. Just to make it look a little bit more like a wing. There we go. And here as well, just slightly shorter. And slightly narrower just here. Okay, that works fine. And now I'm going to cut out the rest of the parts. So I do need a beak. So I'm going to start. It's going to be quite, will that show? You obviously don't have to draw. If you just want to cut out, which is what I normally do, the only reason I'm drawing now is to show you what you could do. But really, what I normally do, I just cut out a rectangle and then just kind of cut one side and then cut the other side. And that's my beak ready. Obviously, if it's too big, then I'm going to make it smaller again, but I think, no, this one is just fine. So if you have a look, this is my beak. Okay. The same thing I always do with the legs. So I'm going to go on this side and just cut out the entire thing and then fold it in half and just shape it. It's all up to you, however you want your little legs to look like. I'm just going to go for 3 little pull. Oh. It's not very easy because it's felt, so obviously it's quite soft, but it's much easier than working with the big shears that I worked with before, so it's not that bad. Okay, and then I'm just going to shape this as well and see if the other side is fine. Okay. Yeah. And then I'm just going to cut them up there. And again, if they're too long, you can always cut them shorter. There you go. And the last thing to do will be the top of the head, and again I'm going to cut out just a small rectangle and shape, and as you will see I work in threes, so this one will have 3 as well. Not sure why, but that's how it worked out. Okay, and put that in there. And that's our chick ready to be sewn up. I'm going to cut the legs a little bit because I do think they are too long and it might make it more difficult to put together later on. So they just have to be long enough to comfortably sew them on. The same with the top. Okay, I can work on that later if I need to. So now I'm going to move on to sew on some eyes. So my thread is actually not black, it's just very dark. I've run out of black, so I'm just gonna get on with it. It doesn't really matter as long as it's dark enough. So this is one of the very easy parts. Just need to make sure that you don't pull too hard, because it's very easy to just get the thread and pull it through the felt and make a hole. So we don't want that, so we're being quite gentle here. Okay, and that's enough because we only want a tiny small eye, and just to make sure that we go for the right level, we want another eye just there. And I think we are now ready with the eyes. Just put the last one through. There we go. I'm just going to secure the thread at the back. Make a little knot. There we go. Oopsie. And that's that. So now I'm going to put the beak on. It needs to be lower than the eyes. But it's up to you where exactly you want it. I think I want it around there. So using an orange thread, I'm just going to attach it. Okay, now if you want the beak to be slightly more closed, what you can do is put the needle through just above the beak and then put it through slightly higher than normal and then slightly lower on this side, like so, and then put it through the head right below the beak. And then tighten, and there you have it. And now I'm just going to finish off. So I'm just going to make sure that I have a secure knot. And one more for good measure. So my beak is done. I'm going to cut this off now. So now I'm going to move on and start putting my chick together. So I'm going to start on this side here. Now I've taken my legs out because obviously they will fall out anyway. If you think you prefer to hold them in place, then just use a pin. Sorry, just use a pin to hold them in place. So I'm going to go in on the inside to start with, to have my knot on the inside, and then make sure that the rest is in. Then I'm going to pull the yarn. I don't know, I must be honest, I don't know what this stitch is called, but what I'm doing essentially is I'm putting the needle in, but making sure that it goes in between the threads, so that it's as if I'm making a knot, as you can see, but I'm not tightening it completely. So this is the stitch that I'm using to make sure that the felt stays nice and neat on the edges. But as I said, I don't really know what this knot. I'm sure there is, well, because this is a stitch that I'm sure many people use. I just don't know what it is. I've just learned it a while ago. I was quite young, but I'm self-taught, so I never actually looked up what the things were. I need to make sure that my top is in the right place, and once I've got to there, obviously I can't do the same knot anymore, the same stitch, so I'm going to do it one more time just by the edge of the hair, and then I'm just going to do a normal stitch, trying to avoid stitches being visible in the front as much as possible, obviously. So I'm going to have longer stitches here in the back, and then here just kind of only a little bit, so that they're not as visible. Okay, I need to make sure that this is a bit more in. There we go. Okay, and now I'm going to go back to doing my knotty stitch. So, like so. And so this is what I'm going to do all the way around. So obviously where I have the wings, where I have the legs, I will have to do the stitch without the knots. But everywhere else, I'm going to do this. Now once I've got to the bottom of my chick, I'm going to be right back and show you what I'm going to do when in regards to stuffing, because I think I will stuff the chick a little bit. So see you here in a second. So I've just finished sewing on the legs and I've just got this little bit left to do, but before I close it I'm going to put a little bit of stuffing in, just a tiny bit, to make it less flat and a bit more cute, hopefully. Maybe just a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm just going to continue. I'm going to push the stuffing in a bit further for now, so that I can just do the same stitch without any interruptions and any trouble. And I'll see you here once I've finished sewing up. So my chick is ready now. So now I'm just going to attach the chick to my headband. So I'm going to lay it down like so, so the middle of the back is just there, and I want it on the side, so maybe there. Okay, I'm just kind of halfway there, and I'm using green thread, just so that it matches the yarn, more or less. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. And basically just sewing it on. Okay. And that's it. Now I'm just going to secure the thread. Just going to go around one more time very quickly. And then at the bottom, I'm going to make a little knot. And one more. And that's it. I'm just going to take that off. And this is it. This is my Easter chick headband. It's very easy to make. It's actually quite fun. And I hope you enjoyed watching the video and hopefully making the chick. And I'll see you again very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.